His name is Adam Anwar.
Are you alright? Yeah? You all good?
Yeah.
So as you just heard, my name is Adam Anwar, and with a name like that, and a skin tone like this, it raises a lot of questions. But usually when I first meet people, they don't want to say anything, because they don't want to come across like a little bit too forward, or a little bit Tommy Robinson. But after a few weeks, they'll be like, Adam, you know your name? Where's it from? So I break it down for them. I say, the name's from my dad, and my dad's from Pakistan. And they're like, whoa, Pakistan, but you don't. You don't look Pakistanish. Now, this just opens up a whole can of worms, because then I have to explain my mum, she's from Poland, that just blows their minds. That I'm Muslim, and an Eastern European would get together and create a living embodiment of UKIP's nightmare. My favourite part about that punchline, it was like echoed by the train coming over. Nice one, yeah. So I live in Bolton now, from Bolton. If you're not familiar with Bolton, I'll quickly catch you up. Bolton, we've got two famous Olympians from our little town. First off, Amir Khan, the boxer. 2004, Britain sent one boxer that year to the Olympics. It was little 17-year-old Amir Khan. He went all the way to Greece and he won a silver medal. We've also got Jason Kenny, the cyclist, and he's won more gold medals than any Briton who's ever lived. And if anything explains Bolton, it's those two blokes. Because where I live, you're either getting in a fight or trying to get away from it as quick as possible. We've got a few big brands from Bolton. Reebok started there, Warburton started there. There's an inbred joke hanging in the air, but I'm not going to make it. And a few years ago, the government, they gave our local council a couple £1 million and they said, do what you want with the money, but just make the town a little bit better. So what they did is they spent all the money on one thing, and they built this beautiful white archway right outside the train station, if you ever go, beautiful white archway, and they named it the Gateway to Bolton. The only problem is, this beautiful white archway is on a one-way street, heading out of fucking Bolton. And you know my favourite thing about that is it doesn't even tell you the full story, because as you get to the end of that street, there's an old church which has now been converted into a block of flats, because Bolton is so deprived that even God is renting out his spare room for a bit of extra cash. Yeah. I got beef with Bolton though, The Bolton Evening News, I got a big beef with the Bolton Evening News, right? Because what happens is, if you start stand-up comedy in Bolton, they're very supportive in one hand. They'll write an article about you, they'll write an article, but straight away they'll compare you to Peter Kay, which is a bit unfair, because you might have only done like 5 gigs, and they're comparing you to like the most successful British comic of all time straight away. Well, that's not where it ends. So when they wrote my article, the headline, it was a picture of me, and the headline was, the best thing since sliced garlic bread. Like, what a way to bury me straight away, but it doesn't end there, right? It doesn't end there, because my beef with the Bolton Evening News goes years back, right? When I was in college, a friend of mine, he was a locksmith, right? And he got caught selling cocaine, right? He went to prison, right? As he should have done, did something illegal, fair enough. But what Bolton Evening News did was out of hand. They put his picture on the front of the Bolton Evening News, massive, with the headline, cutting keys by day, selling keys by night. So I'm not happy, at all. And people always ask me, how did it come to be? Polish mum, Pakistani dad, how did it come to be where you are? So I'm going to quickly break that down for you as well. My granddad, born in a little village in Poland, about 40 minutes from Warsaw. And he stayed down till he was a teenager, when one day this German, let's say, organisation rolled into town. And they said, Stanley, why don't you come to work for us for free forever? And he said, oh, Mr. German, you've got tanks and you're pointing guns at me, I don't think I've got a choice. And they took him to Germany. That's where he stayed all the way through the war, until one day his salvation came in the shape of the Americans, and they came and they liberated his camp. They said, Stanley, what you've been through is awful. We can only imagine. And we're going to help you set up the rest of your life in one of 4 locations. My granddad said, hit me. He said, right, option number 1 is you can stay in Germany. He said, well, Mr. American, option number 1 can go fuck itself. What else have you got? He said, well, option number 2 is you can go back to Poland. He said, well, the Germans have ruined Poland, there's nothing to go back to. He said, okay, option number 3 is you can go to the east coast of America, or option number 4 is you can go anywhere you want in the UK. And my granddad chose to go to Bolton. Like I could have some kind of cool New York accent right now doing this in front of me, but I got this voice instead, so yeah, I got beef with my granddad as well. It's not good, it's not good. I've not started my timer, oops. So I'm a Muslim community, right? When you're a Muslim community, people, they'll invite you like on podcasts, radio shows, stuff like that, and they'll always ask you about Muslim issues. And it's not always about Islam itself, sometimes it's about just side issues that involve Muslims. And one of the big ones at the moment is Shamima Begum. Yeah, a lot of people are nodding, but some of you might have forgotten who it was. Shamima Begum was the ISIS bride, and all the conversation was about, should she be allowed back, or should she have to stay where she is? But I'll be honest with you, I actually don't have a strong opinion either way. I just thought she was a little bit naive. Because if football's not even coming home, she's got no chance, has she? That's it. But no, my dad's like a proper traditional old school Pakistani man. Proper traditional old school Pakistani man. You won't think it because he married a Polish woman, but that was the 80s. Times were different back then, but he's got more and more traditional as the years have gone by. And he rang me over lockdown. He said, Adam, come over after work. I need to talk to you about something that's important. So I rushed around. This is peak lockdown, you know, COVID is as bad as it ever was. And Mum and Dad are getting old. I was worried. I got there. He sits me down and he sits me down here, and he's looking right into my eye. And he goes, Adam, it's time that you settle down. I want you to have an arranged marriage to one of your cousins. Yeah, I wasn't fucking laughing. But the thing is, I always knew this day was coming, right? And I never knew what I would say, but it was only in that moment that I truly understood what it meant to him. This far away from his face, looking right into his eyes. So I said, you know what, Dad? I will do it, under one condition. He said, what's that? I said, if I've got to marry one of my cousins, please pick one of the Polish ones, because they're well fitter. Yeah. I thought I was clever, but now I'm married to my cousin Pavel, so... Say what you want, he's going to kiss her out, Pavel. There's been a lot of talk in the press recently about James Bond. There's going to be a new James Bond. There's been talk about having a black James Bond, and people are saying that we should have maybe Idris Elba. I think Idris Elba would make a brilliant James Bond. But I don't think we should have a black James Bond. Because I think we should have a Pakistani James Bond. Because that would be well better. Yeah. Moneypenny would call him up and he'd be like, yeah, cuzzy! What's happening? It's like, Bond, there's an emergency. We need you in London tomorrow. He'd be like, I can't. My cousin's getting married, innit? On Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Asian weddings are longer, we got a lot of cousins to care for, right? So, okay, Bond, that's fine. We'll send you a car on Monday. Like, bang it, but keep the Aston Martin, send me a Rangy, bro. And I think the reason that people don't want a black James Bond is because people are scared of change. But with Pakistani James Bond, there's not much that you have to change. Like, first off, think of the theme tune. It's almost perfect already. Like, it's almost perfect already, but there are a few things that a Pakistani James Bond would change. Like, first off, you go to the bar, you're like, listen, I don't want a martini, it's haram, innit? I'll have a Coke. Whoa, don't shake it, dickhead. These are new trainers, what you... But there's also Bond girls. This has been in the press for decades. Why are Bond girls overly sexualised all the time? So a Pakistani James Bond, boom, changed. Should be coming out of the water. full-length burqa on, everyone will be looking at the ankles like, oh my God, who is this mysterious goddess? And as she gets to the shore, she slides the face veil away. She swam all the way from Cali at Shamima Begum. Right, my name's Adam Anwar. Enjoy the rest of your evening.